G'day and welcome to the GameDay Squad Fantasy Cricket Show. I'm Haz, that's Dill, and that's Stu, and we are the Fantasy Bros. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, as we go live for round 4 of the Big Bash season. Boys, welcome. Round 3 is in the books, and what a round it was. We saw some unbelievable team and individual performances, highlighted by that mighty Heat versus Scorchers game, a game that I'm now considering one of the best Big Bash games that has ever been played. It was pure entertainment from both sides, with the mighty Heat doing the unthinkable and pulling off the highest run chase in BBL history. And to add on top of that, made the week even better, the Aussies have now maintained the Ashes once again. But before we preview round 4 fixtures, how did you boys go in round 3?
Yeah, g'day Haz, g'day Dill, and everyone tuning in. Yeah, what a couple of days it was, Haz, you're right. I actually had a mate text me in the morning going, what happened to the Heat last night? I went to bed when Renshaw got out. How did he get 100? So he must have turned it off when he skied that ball off the Jai Richardson no ball and thought, oh, we're done here. And he missed out on that absolute special performance. Yeah, unbelievable. Round 3 ranks not as good as round 2 for me, unfortunately, just outside the top 20 in Classic and Challenger. I was 3rd in Champion going into that last match last night. There was a bit of weather concerns around. It was raining for about 48 hours and cleared up sort of an hour or two just before the match. And that game went ahead, unfortunately, slid into 8th. Dill, I noticed you were sitting just above me there in 1st, heading into that game too. You probably wouldn't have minded if it got rained out. Did you manage to hang on?
Yeah, g'day boys, g'day viewers, and then eventual listeners as well. Boys, before we get into my rank, should we just talk about the Brisbane Heat and their performance? Let's not worry about round 4 preview. I reckon we could sit here for an hour and talk about how good the Heat are. Yeah, look, I had some success in round 3. My Classic team, I finished 11th, thanks to a couple of lucky pods there, one of them being Renshaw. My Challenger, 22nd, I slid in just outside of the 20. Thanks again to Chris Jordan, another one of those pods. And then my team in Champion, I did hold on and I did come 1st. And it was all thanks to my favourite player in the Big Bash, Finn Allen Diamond, that I reckon got me over the line. So I played the combination of both groups, Cooper Lee and Finn Allen, and I'm pretty stoked with 1st place in Champion. Haz, how did you go, mate?
Unfortunately, not as good as you, Dill. 1st in Champion. Wow, what a week. That's unreal. Congrats, mate. I finished 32nd in Contender, 62nd in Classic, which is not ideal, and Challenger, which is probably the comp that I'm putting all my eggs into the basket at the moment. I came 20th. I was sitting, I think, top 5 going into last night's game, and like Stu, kind of just didn't have the players to contend with the Chris Jordans and Nicole Chowdhury's and the coaches that played them. So kind of just slid down, which is unfortunate, but still have that top 20 finish, which has got me sitting just outside top 20 for the season. So in a pretty good position. But as we've had that weekly success in those weekly and season-long forms for Oz Cricket, but boys, we've now got even more to play with the launch of the GDS Cup. Dill, as a former winner of the GDS Cup over in Rugby League, can you remind us and our audience how this competition works?
Yeah, thanks, mate. Thanks for bringing up my GDS Cup victory. I know we talked about it briefly last week, but I'm happy to sit here and remind everyone how good that was. That was a whole lot of fun. Obviously, it came down to the wire there between JT and I over in the league space. But yeah, GDS Cup, an unreal competition that the boys over at GDS have put together. As mentioned over on Discord, 128 people have qualified for that competition. They've been put into a random draw and they've got a head-to-head opponent, which is a single elimination competition now. So you can see on screen there, my GDS Cup opponent this week is Spin King. Stu, you're up against the Baggy Greens and Haz, which I think I remember Tanga Turtles had a bit of success in the league space as well. Is that right, Stu?
He eliminated me in league. So Haz, can you get one back for me, please? Thanks for looking
How good is that? How good is that? Yep. And if you win, you continue. Each round that you win, you obviously get some prizes as well. And there's some special prizes there along the way. So really looking forward to that cup competition. Just adds another element to it. So good luck to everyone that is involved there, especially Tangus. Haz. Good luck, Haz, mates, in your first GDS Cup for Oz Cricket.
Yeah, hopefully I can get some revenge for you, Stu, and get back at Tanga Turtles and hopefully get into round 2. Just a reminder that all emails for all coaches that are qualified in that 128 spots been emailed out today. You've got your promo code for your reward pack, and all those fixtures have been announced. But it's interesting now, boys. Potentially, do we have to start thinking about our strategy moving forward with this competition? I know you boys are focusing on champion. Are you going to change your strategy a little bit to focus on Classic Cup?
Yeah, for me, it's tough because you want to keep going well on the overall leaderboard, but you also want to make sure that you're putting a decent score together for the Classic Cup and making sure you're picking the guys that are probably going to be fairly well played. So, yeah, you don't want to be taking too many pods, I don't think, as you might go in sort of a challenger and a champ to try to get different to the field. You'd hate to go against someone that's really heavily played, and that was the only difference between you and your opponent, and they managed to get one over you in round one. But look, I've exited just about all of the cups in round one anyway. So I'm not immune to a round one exit. So we'll see. Let's just hope I can get to round two.
That's the way. That's the way.
Yeah, sounds good. I think for me, especially probably first year playing Oz cricket, just probably don't have the depth of cards. So I think it's for me, do I continue to focus on Challenger, or do I really put all my eggs in the basket and try and do well in Classic? We'll see after this week progress, but this week so far, I'm just going to try and do what's possible with the cards that I've got. However, before we move on, boys, we've got some people in the chat today. Oh, sorry, it's not working. Got Pity in the chat.
Nice.
We've also got Mian Gaming. Said congrats, Deal, on the win and champion. We've got Mel, of course. Good, Mel. How are you today?
Real.
Got Izzy again, Maxi. Good to see everyone again. Such as Fife is in here as well. Good to see everyone. But before we move on, Stu, would you like to let our viewers know what our preview shows will look like this season?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And just quickly, I think Pity's only here for a bit of a shout out. He came 7th on the Challenger leaderboard for round 3. So well done, 4th Fantasy Bro. And whose bat is it? An excellent performance in round 3. Well done, mate. Yeah, it has. Look, every sort of Monday and Thursday is when the rounds begin. So it's pretty easy for viewers to remember that, although that does change a little bit here and there. We'll keep you updated with when the shows are on. But yeah, we'll get into previewing the upcoming fixtures. This round, there are only 2 of those matches, and we'll get some team lists in probably the next 20 or 30 minutes, and we'll digest that as well. We'll be talking about all the players that we are going to play in the bat, wicketkeeper, the all-rounder, and the bowler positions. We're going to let you know our consensus team, so you can copy us and throw that out in the Classic competition if you're not too sure, and you can blame us if you don't go so well. Throwdown Showdown will continue as always. Some of our viewers won some prizes last week. There's plenty of cards up for grabs each and every show. So make sure you're tuning in. If you can't watch the live shows an hour before each round commences, then make sure you catch up on YouTube the following morning, maybe, or afternoon. You can still get involved and send us some love. Also on screen, you can see our promo code. All new users can use the code SUMMER for 3x3 player common packs. Look, if you're a little bit lazy like me and haven't finished your Christmas shopping yet, what better way to write a card pretty quickly to a couple of friends or family members and throw in that code SUMMER, get them signed up to GameDay squad, and say, here you go, here's here's a couple of bucks worth of packs to get your squads rolling, and you can even watch the Fantasy Bros and copy their team for round 1. So you've got for round 4, so you can go well. So yeah, thanks for the support, everyone. Make sure you're following us on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok as well, and get some mates signing up using that code SUMMER and joining the fun. There's still plenty of prizes to be won. You don't have to be playing from ball 1.
Absolutely, mate. As we can see on screen for this round 4, we only have the 2 games. First game is going to be tonight is the Thunder versus Heat. That is going to be played at Manuka Oval at 6:15 Australian Eastern Standard Time. The weather is looking good, so we shouldn't have to worry too much about rain at all. And some key stats to look at. All player averages. The best average last season was 40.3 per player. The first innings batting average was 28.7, and the chasing batted average is 26.2. So potentially batsmen may not be the people to target, but will be interesting to see how that plays out. Last season, the Thunder allowed an average of 42.2 to Heat players, and the Heat limited the Thunder players to an average of 32.5. And in our second game, we have the Strikers versus the Stars tomorrow night at Adelaide Oval, once again at 6:15 Australian Eastern Standard Time. And the weather is looking perfect in Adelaide, just like it was for the third Ashes test. Once again, all player average is the fourth best average of 37.5 GDS points for all players. First innings batting average is 28.1, while the chasing batting average is 23.8 in comparison. Last season, the Stars allowed an average of 40 to Strikers players, and the Strikers limited the Stars players to an average of 32.1. Now, as always, there's a lot of information thrown at you. But based on that information, boys, is there a particular game that you're looking to target? Dill, start off with you.
Yeah, I think that first game, the game tonight, I'm probably going to target a little bit more. We saw, obviously, as you said, Monica had the best averaging ground stats of 40.3 per player. So we know Monica what it's like, and it's a little bit smaller than some other grounds. So I think if we can get maybe the Heat batting first, I don't mind a couple of Heat batsmen in tonight's game. And then obviously, as always, the Stars all-rounders, it's going to be a difficult thing to navigate. But I think if we can maybe get a Stars all and then a couple of decent Strikers all-rounders to have a good game, I think that's sort of where I'll be leaning based on some of those stats. But I think, for me, Heat tonight and then Strikers tomorrow is sort of where I'm leaning at the moment.
Yeah, perfect. Love that. All right, boys, let's get into the bat wicketkeeper position. And from those two matches, who are we looking to target and why? So on screen, we can see for those viewers that are watching, we have David Warner, Sam Billings, Matty Renshaw, the absolute hero of last round, Chris Lynn, and Sam Constas. Dill, do you want to start us off?
100%, mate. So look, I'm backing Chrissy Lynn to not fail twice. He's been an absolute stalwart of Big Bash for a long, long time, and we've seen some ridiculous innings from him in the past. We've seen him have some unreal matches, and we've obviously seen some down as well. But since 2012, Chris Lynn has played 23 matches at Adelaide Oval, and he has an average of 33.4 runs per game there, with a high score of 83 not out. And of all other venues that are still being used in the Big Bash, that venue there is the best one for him. It's where he's scored the most amount of runs average. And that's where he sort of has his best stats. And that includes the Gabba, where we know that he spent majority of his Big Bash career. And he was one half of the Bash brothers where they sort of took the competition by storm. And, we remember what Linney and McCullum were doing not that long ago for the Heat. So it's great to see that Linney, although it's hard to see him move from the Heat, it's great to see him still having success somewhere else. Last season at Adelaide Oval, it's pretty fruitful for the batting team. That goes out and bats first as well, with Linney himself averaging almost 10 points more when the Strikers bat first. So the Strikers who are hosting the Stars, they might have some vulnerability there. Let's hope that the Strikers go out and bat first. Hopefully that the Stars will sort of allow the same vulnerability that we've seen in the past, allowing an average of 46 GS points in their earlier hit-outs, which included McDermott's 86, which, was a pretty unreal knock from McDermott. After we sort of said that maybe we were looking elsewhere. So obviously that was one that came back to bite us. The obvious thing is that Linney has, the lowest floor of anyone, and that's probably the -2 if he goes out there and faces one ball and gets done for all money, and we walk away with his -2. So it's because he doesn't provide anything in the way of any other stats, really. The Strikers, they go and hide him in the field. He can't throw a ball in to save himself because his shoulder's cooked. So it really just comes down to him going out and really facing up and just facing as many balls as he can and really working the field over, and hopefully we see some success from him. There's not many batsmen around that have that solid floor either this week. We don't really have a lot that have sort of that second or third dimension to their game. So I'm more than happy to just lock and load on Linney and hope for a big night of Linsanity.
Yeah, I really like what you said there at the end there. There's not many batsmen that have that second or third role. in the team. So we are pretty much relying on their pure craft with the bat alone. And I think, like I said, Lynn back at the Adelaide Oval, those short square boundaries, geez, he just loves playing there. And no doubt he'll hopefully get a couple away in the power surge and get set. And then once the spinners come on, try and knock them around for a little bit before he can explode in the back end. And hopefully, as we'll probably talk about later, hopefully it's a Lynn Sanity and Matt Short combo at the top of the order that gets absolutely firing for the strikers this round. Stu, who are you looking at targeting and why?
Yeah, obviously Linny's going to be pretty popular there. Such as Fife has him locked and loaded. I love that. Mianji, no, sorry, it's Ayush this time, saying, I know it was, ignore that one. I want to just highlight this very quickly. No, it keeps changing on me. Here it is. Thank God the weather is clear. There's no tension. I'm just most excited about that, boys, that we don't have to fight with the weather and and about who we're going to start and, you know, make all of these contingency plans. But look, boys, for me, no Josh Philippi this round. So we're going to need to look elsewhere for that wicket keeper. And I doubt this man's going to reach the heights of Philippi, who's averaging 78 GDS points in those 3 knocks. He's been unbelievable. But look, I think Sammy Billings is going to be a really popular play. And we've got a few options in the likes of Jimmy Pearson, Sammy Harper, Harry Nielsen. But yeah, I think Billings is going to be the popular play and probably look to pot up elsewhere and really not try to risk it on one of these other guys. Billings really likes Monica Oval as well. He scored 340 runs there. And of all of the active BBL players, he's sitting at the top of the tree there with the most runs of those currently playing. He's got an average of 72 across 9 bats. That's maybe that's not correct. 72 seems a little bit high. I'll have to double check that. But look, he has passed 30 twice and 50 on 3 other occasions. So look, he's obviously got the form. He likes the smaller field there, and he strikes at an impressive 145. So I don't think we need to be too cute in that wicketkeeper position. I think he's going to come in at 4 or 5 again and put on plenty of points on the board. We saw him came in at number 4 in game 1. He moved to number 5 to accommodate the return of David Warner in game 2. So if he does stay there at 5, ideally we probably want to see the Thunder bat first so that he's sort of guaranteed, or we can be a bit more confident he spends time at the crease. You know, there's nothing worse than the top 2 or 3 batsmen chasing the runs in the second innings. And, you know, Timmy David last night sort of proved that. Pretty popular player. We can't play guys like him at as frequently because, yeah, he just doesn't get a decent time out in the middle if he is coming in at 5. And similar to Billings here, but in saying that, look, the Thunder top order haven't been great. He came in at 3 for 17 after 2.4 overs in their most recent fixture and scored a really nice 51 off 28 when no one else could really get going. Only one teammate managed to pass 15 runs. So, yeah, that 50, he was head and shoulders above the rest. I think he can go on here. And even if he does fail, I don't think it's going to cost us too much. I doubt those other wicket keepers are going to score many points, if at all. Every chance they might be in the negatives.
Yeah, I really like that chat. I think, like you said, it's probably not worth potting up elsewhere this week. I think Billings is probably the clear play just for that pure reliability and that floor that he potentially has. He normally tries to get about 1 or 2 catches as well each game, so that helps his scoring as well. And he looks in really good touch, especially with that 51 off 28. Like you said, everyone are pretty much around him really struggled on that NG Stadium wicket, but he looked a class above against the Sixers attack. So I'm definitely going to be targeting him in all my squads this week. Now, there is a comment in the chat. Do you guys like any Stars batsmen? And we got Mian saying Kellaway looked really good last game. What do you think of him? Dill, I'm going to throw to you first. What do you think about Campbell Kellaway? And considering you pulled his legend, what are you thinking about Campbell Kellaway this week?
Thanks for that. I'm happy that no one's really rubbed it in at all this week after Kellaway went out and got himself a pretty decent score. What was it, 41 off, what did he have? 5 boundaries there as well. Look, it's always tough. The Stars lineup, obviously we talk about it plenty of times. They've got so much firepower in terms of Stoinis, Maxwell. Maxwell didn't even get a bat, similar to what Stu was saying about some of the other players in Hobart, for example. That they didn't even get down to Maxwell, that they just needed the 4 of them to finish it off. even Tommy Rogers was able to stay out in the middle for longer than probably what he did at all last season. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a one and done from Campbell Callaway. I'm not convinced yet. For me, I'll be looking elsewhere where we've seen some consistency. And, hopefully he does well for the person that has his legend. But I'm happy to fade him again and hope that he fails so that I don't feel bad this week.
Stu, any differences opinion there, or are you in agreement with Dill?
Nah, I think he's hurting enough. I don't think we need to rub it in, boys. Cal's just mentioned that didn't sound like a Callaway apology. I think Dill just wants us to move along, Has.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, I'll talk about my targeted batsman this week, and it is none other than Matt Renshaw. He just needs to honestly take a bow alongside the wildebeest. Renshaw stepped up when his team needed him the most while chasing that staggering 258 for victory at the Gabba. It came to the crease after the very first ball of the innings after Colin Munro decided to edge it to Ashton Agar at point. And Renshaw proceeded to hit the Scorchers bowlers all over the Gabba, eventually walking off in the 15th over after being run out with 102 runs of just 51 balls at that strike rate of 200. His sensational knock put the Heat firmly in the box seat to do that unthinkable. Renshaw finished with a massive 141 GDS points in an innings that included 5 fours and 9 sixes, showcasing both power and his ability to dissect the field with precision. Now, I admit this could be a case of chasing last round's points. Obviously, we do have the reduced teams and players to choose from this week, but Renshaw is honestly a man in serious form, and I'm hopping on the train and backing him to carry that momentum into this round against the Thunder. There's no Nathan McSweeney tonight, so Renshaw once again is likely to shoulder a significant portion of that responsibility with the bat coming in at first drop. And from a matchup perspective, it sets up pretty beautifully. Manuka Oval, has a high-scoring venue last season, allowing an average of 35.4 GDS points to batsmen, the second most of any ground in the competition. And so far, the Thunder this season have allowed an average of 43.2 points to batsmen, ranking third in the competition. Adding to the appeal, batsmen, and this includes wicket-keeper eligible Josh Philippe, coming in at number 3, have averaged 91 points across the Thunder's 2 matches so far. So all signs point to Renshaw as a must-play option this week as he looks to continue his red-hot form for the Heat.
Yeah, I think it's an unreal shout. I think pretty much everyone's on the back of Renshaw after we did. And just quietly, boys, I'm going to take full responsibility for Renner's unreal knock. I saw him at the coffee shop a couple of days before, and I just whispered and said, can you get up for the boys and have a big one? So I'll take full responsibility there. As I said, I played him on my classic side as well. So good on Matt Renshaw. And yeah, like I said, I think pretty much everyone's going to be on him. But it's just classic BBL if he goes out and scores peanuts. We've seen that plenty of times before, but fingers crossed for everyone that's on Matt Renshaw, including myself, and I'm sure Stu and Has. We hope that he has a big game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt, for sure. Righty, boys, moving on to the all-rounders. I think this week, all-rounders, there are plenty to choose from, and we've got some quality players on screen. We've got Glenn Maxwell, like you mentioned earlier, Dill, didn't even get a bat last week, but still managed to pick up a wicket. Short, Overton, Marcus Stoinis, Jack Wildermuth, and Shadab Khan. Dill, was Matt Renshaw and the Wildebeest show at the Gabba? I think Jack Wildermuth's the person that you're targeting this week.
100%, mate. The Wildebeest, he's arrived. Jack Wildermuth, he's been an absolute revelation. And look, we are in need. The Brisbane Heat are in need, and we welcoming him with open arms. I think the all-rounder demolished the opposition the other night, and he really demonstrated his talent with both bat and ball as well, which I love to see across both of the games this season. And it's been a real contrast to show the all-rounder aspects of Jack Wildermuth. He's averaging 50.5 with the ball and then a massive 73.5 with the bat. And that's exactly what we're looking for from a GDS relevant player. Look, you go back and have a look at that first game. It was an unreal start. Wildermuth taking 3 wickets from his full allotment. And then he added 10 dot balls. However, he followed it up with a duck, but he still finished with that score of 72. So it just shows he's got the reliance on both aspects and dig himself out of a hole for any coaches that that do play him. And I know there's been quite a few scrambling for a Jack Wildermuth card today. I think I saw over on the Discord that there's been a couple of Jack Wildermuth diamonds that have been exchanged earlier pre-season, and people are trying to get them back pretty quick. Look, in game 2, though, he again bowled his 4 overs, which is great to see. At the moment that we've got our all-rounders bowling the maximum amount of overs they can, and he's coming out at 2, he's opening the batting. I think it's just great that we've got that option for us, both for the Heat and for GS coaches as well. He finished with a wicket in that second game, plus 9 dot balls, and then he obviously went kaboom with the bat, hitting 110 runs. That included the 5 fours and 9 sixes. He's not going to contribute that every week. I think we've got to temper our expectations there around what we want to see from Wildermuth, and it might be something that every now and then we see, similar to like a Jackie Edwards, that what he does with the ball and then with the bat as well. And I think somewhere around that sort of 50 to 100 mark is kind of where we want to see Wildermuth. I was just about to talk about Jack Edwards, but Jack Wildermuth. We obviously can't expect 110 runs every game, but we're going to rely on both aspects. And look, the fact that he's got those 4 overs and he's open, it just gives me enough to go, I'm going to play him. This round in particular, it's a shortened round. There's only the 2 games. Even with all of those unreal all-rounder options, I think we're looking at the likes of Shadab Khan and Sam's not even making our team at the moment because we've got such a breadth of talent across the all-round option and all-round position. He's got a great matchup as well, Wildermuth, this week against the Thunder at Manuka. We know we've talked about that plenty of times, but not just from a all-player perspective, but from all-rounders as well. That venue has leaked points, as well as the Thunder. The Thunder's season this year, so far, they've allowed Jackie Edwards, Joel Davis, and Chris Jordan to have massive scores of 139, 79, and 70, respectively. So I hope for my sake and all the Heat fans and any coach that plays the Wildebeest that he can go absolutely wild tonight.
Yeah, gee, tough leaving out a bloke, opening the batting, scoring 50 GDS points with the ball. So many all-rounder options, but previous to that innings, boys, 31 innings, 31 was his top score. I know he's got a new position there at the top of the order. The ball's a little bit harder. The gaps, are a little bit bigger. He can hit over the top, but is that a flash in the pan, or are we going to see something a little bit more consistent? Obviously not those big hundreds, but more than that top score of 31 again at some point this season.
I think that new role that he's got at the top of the order probably allows for him to have, probably some good innings. And obviously we know that he got that duck in round 2 as well against the Renegades. So he's going to be a little bit inconsistent with the bat. Purely for that reason, he's going to try and swing for the fences in that power play. And I think that's pretty much his role at the Heat. I think even if he does, hover around that previous high score of 30, like Dill said, with the ball, if he's averaging 50 with the ball plus 30 points with the bat, he's nearly a must-play every week just purely on that alone. So we don't necessarily need him to go ballistic every single week, but obviously it's just going to help all coaches and especially going to help the Heat move forward in the competition. But he's a player that's in form. I know, the commentary box last night, they were talking about, in the Gabba, they were talking about how he's been hitting them for Queensland. He scored an 80 or 40 in the One Day Cup. So it's not like this has come out of absolutely nowhere. It's just been building for a little while now. So as a Heat fan, I'm glad to see it.
Yeah, I agreed. And look, we've got a question here from Mian G Gaming. Thanks, Mian, for joining us. Is Sam's a consideration as well? Boys, I'll start and then I might open it up and see what you think. Look, it's not for me, and there's a couple of reasons. The big one is that we really can't rely on either aspect from Daniel Sams. So far, he's come in at 7 both times, and he's hit 24 runs across his 2 at bats, and then he's only taken 1 wicket across those 2 times as well. So comparing him to someone like Jack Wildermuth, who has contributed both with ball and bat, whether it's separate or together, I think having that option to at least demonstrate both skills, I think is a lot more important. Stu, are you sort of in the same boat there around Daniel Sams?
Yeah, a little bit, probably more on the playable train than you are, Dill, just because we know what type of player he is and can be. He's going to have one of these big scores eventually. Obviously, it's really tough with the Adelaide players, the Melbourne Stars players, and Jack Wildermuth to find a spot for Daniel Sams. But in BBL Fantasy, you want to be getting on these guys. Like, imagine getting on Wildermuth before last match, and you would have been, a handful of blokes that had him for his, monster score, and now everyone's playing him this week. There's every chance that Daniel Sams, his big score isn't too far around the corner. And typically when he goes well with the ball, he backs it up when he's out in the middle and goes well off the bat. If he can score some runs with the bat, he then gets out there and takes some poles with the ball as well. If there's any match that he's going to go well against, it's probably against our boys in the Heat, guys, because Heat have given up 200 plus runs in their past 2 fixtures. Obviously, they batted a lot better last match, but yeah, look, Mian and everyone else, if you like the guys like, Daniel Sams, Shut Up Khan, they're going to have their big matches, and it's just about, whether or not you think that the risk versus reward is there. He's not a bad player. He's going to score well. He has scored well in a number of Big Bash seasons. He hasn't all of a sudden forgotten how to play. But for me, it's just the quality of other all-rounders we're choosing from this week. But, look, there's going to be a week where we're all talking about Dan Sams because he takes 3 or 4 and scores a big 30.
Yeah, I completely agree with both of you. I think Mian's followed up with a comment in the chat. Wildermuth is rare to find, and that's why he was thinking Sams. And I'm completely in agreement with Mian. I was chasing a Wildebeest card this morning on the Discord because I didn't have any of his cards at all. So I can understand if you don't have a card potentially looking to go elsewhere, but I still think we're trying to target one of the other 5 that are on screen just purely for their role and their bit of form as well leading into so far this season.
And just quickly, if you've got both Shadab Khan and Daniel Sams, I would probably lean towards Shadab Khan just because we've seen a little bit more from him with the bat. He comes out just that little bit earlier, and he's hit a 34 and a 41 so far. Plus, he's followed it up with 2 wickets. So if you've got that option, maybe you lean towards Shadab Khan, but you're 100% right, Stu, that we know what Sams can do, and it won't be long before he does have that big score. I don't know. I just can't trust him right now.
I think that leads pretty much perfectly because my target player this round is actually Shadab Khan. So the Thunder seem to be getting the best out of that Pakistani international this season, and he's proven to be an all-round threat across the opening 2 matches. In round 2 against the Hurricanes, he delivered that 89-point GDS performance, scoring 34 runs with the bat to go alongside those 2 wickets with the ball. While his bowling output didn't carry over into the clash against the Sixers, he finished wicketless and was sitting on -2 at the innings break. Shadab Khan once again showed his value as an all-rounder. He said he did score with 41 runs with the bat, including 3 4s and 2 6s to finish with a respectable 50 GDS points. Khan now comes into a favourable matchup against the Heat, who have allowed Hassan Khan and Laurie Evans to score 31 points and 34 points across their opening 2 matches. And despite neither of these players contributing with the ball. So if Khan can establish a similar batting base, any wickets he picks up would significantly boost his ceiling. The venue further strengthens Khan's appeal, with Manica Oval allowing all-rounders to score an average of 48.9 points last season, the second highest average of any ground. With the Thunder's top order struggles so far, Khan could and probably should once again have ample opportunity to contribute with both bat and obviously with the ball as well, making him a genuine pod option for coaches this round due to the amount of quality all-rounders at our disposal, as we've talked about so far.
Yeah, I like that. For those that do like a Daniel Sams or a Shadab Khan play, the Thunder are batting first, which typically means that you can probably expect these guys to spend some time at the crease, particularly even if it's in the last sort of 3 to 4 overs. That's when they've just got a license to go nuts and try to clear the fence. And sometimes that means they can get to 20 or 30 pretty quickly. It also means if the top order do lose some early wickets, then they might have to spend some extra time there at the crease as well. So, yeah, with that decision for the Thunder to bat first, I think that plays nicely into those Thunder all-rounders. But with all of the other options there on the screen, with Overton, Stoinis, Maxwell, Short, Wildermuth, who are you not playing and playing Shut Up Khan over?
So that's why I think he becomes a bit of a pod, because I think those 4 players are probably going to be, or 5, locked and loaded with a bit of variety across squads. So for me, the one person that I'm potentially looking to fade, and it is a scary fade, is Glenn Maxwell, purely for the fact that he is coming in so low in that batting order. Like we've already spoken about, he didn't get a chance to bat last game, and pretty much all signs pointed to Marcus Stoinis as the all-rounder to target. So if anything, he's the one that I'm potentially looking to fade. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not playing him in any of my squads. I'm just looking if at a pod, Khan could be the option over maybe a Glenn Maxwell. And like I said, I don't have a whole lot of Jack Wildermuth cards, so he could potentially be that option as well over Wildebeest.
Yeah, I think there'll be a few out there that don't have those Wildermuth cards as well. So, yeah, Dan Sam, Shut Up Khan, definitely a suitable option this week. There's the Thunder 11 on screen. It looks like no changes from their previous match. Sammy Billings there at 5 once again, which I'm not too concerned about, given the Thunder are batting first. That's sort of what I was hoping for. I know from a Heat perspective, we probably wanted, the likes of Renshaw out there batting first, given the points are on for the first innings batters a little bit more so than chasing, but we saw what the Heat did chasing the other night, so maybe that's their way to go. So yeah, for me, definitely Renshaw, Billings. Just got to decide maybe between another batsman, whether it's Sammy Constas or maybe Colin Munro in tonight's fixture. Boys, have we got a Heat lineup? We're expecting a couple of changes, obviously, with McSweeney no good to go.
I haven't seen anything yet. Hopefully we get it through soon. Do you want to talk about your all-rounder that you're... Oh, hang on. Here we go. It's just come through now. Munro, Wildermuth, Renshaw, Weigman, Allsop, Bryant, Pearson, Bartlett, Afridi, Haskett, and Kuhneman. So I'll type that into the chat as well there, but not too much in the way of surprises, I don't think.
Yeah, just Tommy Allsop coming in, obviously, there for McSweeney. Maxi Bryant, 2 catches away from equaling the record for the most catches taken by a Heat player. If anyone likes their omens or chasing the goals or the targets to hit, then Maxi Bryant might be in for a big one in the field, and then later on with the bat as well. Probably not for me, but he wasn't too far from an all-star last season, was he? There's the Heat 11 on screen for those playing at home. Yeah, pretty solid there. I love the look of Bartlett there, heading that bowling quartet, and hopefully, if the Heat do fail, then he's going to come in and score some runs for us a little bit later on. Let's just hope that top order can do well like they did the last outing.
Definitely. Stu, you haven't talked about your all-rounder yet, mate. Do you want to jump into it?
Yeah, very quickly. It comes in tomorrow night's match. And look, despite a new Big Bash season, it seems like not much has changed at the Melbourne Stars, with their all-rounders continuing to give us plenty of headaches. We spoke on a live stream about the headache regarding Glenn Maxwell, Marcus Stoinis, Maxi named at 6. And particularly with the Stars batting second, we were concerned that meant that he may not spend much time at the crease, and even Stoinis as well. I think they had Sammy Harper above both of them. Stoinis obviously came in at 4 there above Harper, but Maxi didn't get out at all to bat. Fortunately, he did take a wicket early on. Otherwise, his points outing would have been pretty small. But look, fortunately, a few of us did pivot to Marcus Stoinis there, and we were rewarded with his 124-point haul in that demolition of the Canes. But what was most pleasing to see was that the Hulk gave himself 3 overs. And he got the really important wickets of Chowdhury and also the prize scalp of Benny McDermott, who's been in red-hot form, just like Josh Philippi. Unfortunately, Sids and Harris Ralph did still get those death overs. I love seeing Marcus Stoinis bowl those because he does have that really nice change of pace himself. But yeah, he didn't have those final few overs, but bowling 3 and getting some really nice figures there for those 2 wickets. Man, I think he's going to be using himself with the ball a little bit more frequently than he has over the past 2 seasons. In the preseason shows, we did say that was the only really thing holding him back from being, an excellent GDS option. Just the fact that he wasn't bowling himself a lot, and relying on him with the bat at number 4 or number 5 doesn't always pay off. Boys, he likes Adelaide as well. He's played there 10 times. He averages 37 with the stick and strikes at 150. He's got 3 half centuries. He's taken 4 wickets at the ground, and he's gone for 10 or 11 runs and over. So we might not see some huge returns with the ball in tomorrow night's fixture. But he's got that dual role. He's good in the field. I think he's one of the pretty popular all-rounders, and he's not someone I can fade this week.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that one. The role is just there. He looked absolutely unreal against the Hurricanes. There was a bit of back and forth banter between him and Matt Wade, and geez, didn't he just show Matt Wade that he was locked in, concentrated, eyes on the job, eyes on the prize. And if that's the Stoinis that we're going to see all year, I think we're going to be seeing his name on screen quite a bit because he looked unreal. So yeah, completely agree with that one there, Stu. So now we're going to move into our bowlers to target this round. On screen, you can see that the bowlers that we are targeting are Xavier Bartlett, Reece Topley, Harris Ralph, Shaheen Afridi, and Luke Wood. Dill, once again, do you want to start us off with the bowler that you are looking to target this week?
Yeah, definitely. Before I do, though, just quietly, how hard is a Reece Topley card to find, boys? I don't think I've got
Does
one.
it exist?
It's going to be a massive pod. I don't know. Does he exist? It's going to be a huge pod for anyone that does have him. Look, boys, I am running back the Harris Ralph play again this round. I really loved what I saw from him in the first game. And we saw last round Ralph and Siddle shared in the wickets for the Stars. And look, the pair of pacemen were the only Stars who actually bowled out their full allotment. And they both got the death overs as well, as you said, Stu, which gives me some reassurance that something similar is probably going to occur again tomorrow night. And I'm happy to run back Ralph for that reason. He was as good as ever in his return match to the Big Bash. He now faces that strikers side that they had an impressive win in their first match of the season, but they've been susceptible to that fast, medium pace bowling type over the last sort of this season and previous seasons. Look, in that first game that they played, they allowed an average of 50 GS points to the fast and medium paces of Perry, Edwards, Dwarshus, and Kerr, who all shared in wickets there. So I expect Ralph and Siddle to probably share in those wickets again. I just prefer Ralph because he's got something just a little bit special. And I know I bagged on Sids being 41 years old and wasn't sure if he can get through his 4 overs, and he did some unreal work. And I reckon it was all down to his dyed Eminem look. But for me, I'm still just going to stick on that Harris Ralph train. And look, we've obviously got some limited data on the strikers this season, but if we use previous performance as well as any indication, the strikers allowed an average of 40 GDS points to bowlers, which was the second most to the position across all teams. So that just tells me that they are susceptible to all bowling type, but then in particular those quicks. So I'll be loading up on Ralph across most of my teams, and I might even just play a Siddle in maybe my challenger side just to sort of hedge my bets there. But I'm just leaning Ralph just because I think he shows that little bit more. He's got that an unreal action. And look, you just go back a couple of years when he took that fourfer and where he first sort of burst on the scene, and he hasn't really looked back since. So I'm pretty happy to hit Harris Ralph again this week.
Yeah, I'm on the Harris Ralph train. Once again, this played his diamond and challenger last week, and that definitely was a very good, handy play for me. And I think what I love about Harris Ralph is just his ability to give absolutely everything when he's delivering the ball. I think I couldn't count how many times he actually hit the deck after delivering the ball last week, just showing that he wants to give everything. He wants to give 110% and try and pick up those scalps. So I like him again this week, even though potentially on Adelaide Oval with the short boundaries. Hopefully he can pick up some wickets there, and hopefully someone just top edges one, and hopefully it's not Chris Lynn or Matt Short. Stu, who are you targeting this week?
Yeah, pretty easy one here for me, boys. You both got to talk about a Brisbane Heat play, so I am as well. But look, despite conceding 200 runs a match, Xavier Bartlett, he's still putting together some pretty handy GDS scores. He's averaging 48.5 from those first 2 matches with scores of 36 and 61. That's coming from just 3 wickets and 1 solitary run with the bat. That's got him as the 5th best ranked bowler in terms of averages. And I don't think we've seen anywhere near what he's capable of, particularly with the ball. So I think we're going to see some cameos with the bat as well at some stage. And, you know, why not on an evening like tonight? Obviously, with no Spencer Johnson, Shaheen Afridi still struggling to put back-to-back 6 balls in and over together without, something going wrong. So the Heat are relying on X so much more, and he's getting all of those big overs and getting the ball when it counts. Despite the Heat getting blasted all around the park, his figures have still looked pretty good. 1 for 24 from 4 against the Gades stands out, despite them scoring, that 212. And then he even followed up with a 2 for 44 against the Perth. Scorchers when they went on to score 250 plus. Despite going over 10 and over, it was still the best economy rate for the Brisbane Heat. So he's doing everything right. The Thunder, he can be susceptible, particularly in their top order. They were 3 for 17 against the Sixers just a couple of nights ago. So if Big X can get the ball moving around nice and early, he could be well on his way to improve on that 50-point average. But given we've got a couple of Thunder players in our lineup, boys, isn't it hard when your bowler is bowling against your batsman and you don't know what you want to happen?
Yeah, it's a very tricky situation, that's for sure. You never know if you want to cheer for the batsman or you want to cheer for the bowler. I think what I normally do is just cheer for the batter when they're facing someone else, and then if they come on, hopefully they knock over the person that's at the non-striker's end. So it's definitely a tricky situation especially when there's only 2 games. There's going to be an aspect of crossover somewhere in there, but I definitely think Big X once again this week is a great shout. I think, like we said, Renshaw, Wildebeest, and X. If that wasn't for those 3, I don't think the Heat probably be performing as well as they are. So a lot of responsibility is on his shoulders with the ball, and hopefully we can potentially see a bit of a bounce back from Afridi. We know he's a world-class bowler, and hopefully he can potentially shoulder some of that workload and take the ease off X as well this week. For me, boys, this week I'm targeting Luke Wood. He started the season really strongly in round 2 with a 94-point performance against the Sixers. He finished with impressive figures of 3 for 26, which included 11 dot balls. And he also added a handy value with the bat, scoring 18 not out after coming in at number 8. Something we just love our bowling options doing for those extra points when the opportunity arises. Last season, the Adelaide Oval proved to be a relatively neutral venue for bowlers, allowing an average of 38.5 GDS points. It is often considered a batted-friendly venue. However, what truly elevates Wood's appeal this week or this round is clearly his defined role with the ball. Something that you mentioned with X is, Stu, is that often talked about the need to target bowlers who open the bowling, are trusted during the power surge, and are relied upon at the death. And Wood ticked every one of those boxes in the Strikers' opening match. With the new ball, Wood generated swing and asked early questions of the top order, which included the massive wicket of Babar Azam, before seamlessly transitioning into his variations later in the innings. His change-ups, cutters, and pace-off deliveries caused significant problems for the Sixers, particularly at the death when batters were forced to take those extra risks. This is best highlighted in the 19th over, where we know obviously the batter is going absolute hell for leather. Wood returned figures of 2 for 3, underlining just how difficult he can be to score against when the batting for the fences. So given his success in the role and the trust that the Strikers are showing in him, it's hard to see the responsibilities and his role changing anytime soon. And I'm definitely looking to target him this round.
Yeah, nice. I'm going to throw back to you, Haz, and Mian's got a question about Hassan Ali. Obviously, you talked about Luke Wood and how you want him in the side. Is there any look in at Hassan Ali at all, or are we just completely ignoring probably what I would call a poor performance from him in that first outing?
I think if it wasn't for Hassan Ali, I think he took 3 catches in the field, which equivalent to 28 GDS points with the bonus. He didn't really offer much with the ball, and he didn't offer anything with the bat. So for me, it's either Wood or you're probably looking maybe at Henry Thornton if he's playing. I think I'm not looking at Hassan Ali until he proves something and proves to be that threat that we've seen at the international level. What about you boys? Is it just me?
Yeah, look, he's definitely capable. We've seen a lot of the internationals though; they haven't really fired early on, so maybe he's just sort of warming into his bowling. He's actually bowled really, really well for Pakistan so far this year. Granted, some of his matches have been against Bangladesh and West Indies, but took a 5 for 30 against Bangladesh. He's taken 12 wickets in 6 matches, and some of his first-class knocks with the bat have been pretty impressive as well. Now, I know we don't need to rely on any runs with the bat, but he got a 90 and he's got a couple of 40s and 50s for his local side there. But so he's certainly capable. And look, if bowlers can get some catches in the field and then some runs with the bat as well. It's always super handy. Yeah, look, he's going to have a match. It could very well be his match where he gets the 3 wickets just because some bowlers are going after him. It's really tough there in the bowler position, isn't it? I think I like the way that Luke Wood bowled. He's going to get the key overs as well. But yeah, look, if you've got a couple of Hassan Ali cards, I think he's going to be a bit of a pod this round, and why not play him now? None for 36. Only got points from catches, so throw him in now. And if he goes well, everyone's going to be scrambling for some of those cards in the future rounds.
Yeah, perfect.
Look,
Jill,
I just wanted to highlight. Yeah,
no, sorry, you go.
I just wanted to highlight Such as Fife has put up, and I'm watching something similar to what Such as Fife is. Warner up at 3 today, so he has been named at 3. So Jilkson and Constas to open. Boys, how do we feel about Warner coming in at 3? I think, if anything, I like that a lot more. I think it allows him just a little bit of time to sort of set himself and not go big early. I think if they lose a wicket early, he potentially comes in that power play. And if not, if they build something, then he can build off the back of what they've already done in that power play. So I actually like Warner coming in at 3. But Stu, what do you think?
I don't love it. Although with Matty Jilks there, is Matty Jilks opening? There's every chance that Warner. Well, Warner came in at 3 last game anyway, so that's still the same as they played last round. But Constas was out for 2. Jilks probably doesn't survive too long, so I feel like he'll be out there early regardless. I think he's better when the field is up and he can take on the field. He just needs to get a couple away in the middle, and then he can really go on. For me, if he gets out there after 3, 4, 5, 6 overs and the field's back, I don't know. Is he still able to push the ball in the gaps and run a lot? We saw him at the Gabba last year, Dill, and he had a massive score. And we thought, how is this old bugger running between the wickets so well? He was just finding gaps at will. For me, I just want to see him taking on that new ball when the field is up. I'm less confident with him at 3, but with Constas, you don't know what's going to happen. Matty Jilks, he's probably going to get out the first over anyway, so Warner's basically an opener. I don't think it's too bad. I'll still play him in some teams. But yeah, that's just my take on it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, perfect.
Right, just quickly. Sorry, Mel has just mentioned that the Wildermouth auction is heating up. There is a couple of minutes left on the GDS app. The Wildermouth auction is up to $30. So it's a Wildermouth diamond. It's got a minute or so left on that. So if you're in need of a Wildermouth diamond, I think the GDS boys might have you covered. Although it's 32, so it's going hot.
Let's find out what it does go for. If someone can tell us in the comments, that'll be awesome.
All right, too easy. Are we boys ready to move on to our Fantasy Bro consensus 11 for round 4? As you can see on screen, our 11, we got Sam Billings in our wicketkeeper spot, Chris Lynn, David Warner, and Campbell Kellaway. We got Marcus Stoinis, Jamie Overton, Matt Short, and the Wilder Beast in our all-rounder slots. We've got X, Harris Ralph, and Luke Wood to round out our bowlers. Obviously, we've got some 2 pods also on the screen there. So Sammy Constas and Pete Siddle, as you mentioned earlier, Dill with the Stars. Anything to add on to that one, boys?
Campbell Kellaway was in there as a bit of a joke. I was hoping someone would pick that up.
I saw
obviously, that should be Matty Renshaw. That's just to keep the viewers, keep them honest. If they just want to copy and paste our team, they can plug in Dill's favourite player, Campbell Kellaway, and not have a Matty Renshaw. So that won't happen again, boys. I was just getting up to a little bit of mischief. But yeah, for those playing at home and are worried about where Renshaw is, where he's still in our consensus 11. In fact, he's our number 1 batsman. I just hope you like that one.
The reason I stopped, I had a second take. I was like, hold on, is that Campbell Kellaway? I was like, hold on, that doesn't seem right. But I'm glad that's clarified. Thank you. Righto, boys. It is now time for Bro Down Showdown. It's been a while, but once again, one of our favorite segments is up and running. Bro Down Showdown is where the 3 fantasy bros go head to head to see who is the superior bro. Not only that, but it gives our amazing community a chance to win some more unreal prizes. For every live show, we'll be assigned a position from bat, wicketkeeper, all-rounder, and bowl, and pick our top player in that position. Highest score wins, but here is the best part. Comment who you think will win Bro Down Showdown. If you get it right, you're in with a shot to win some awesome cards to continue building your squad. So let's see the results on the board from round 3. So I went with Nathan Ellis as my bowler, and he managed to come out with 46 points. Stu went with Mitch Owen, who was a little bit underwhelming with his 2 opportunities last round with a high score of 10. And Cooper Connolly, who I think is probably going to be our target for pretty much every time the Scorchers play at the bat position. Dill, you've come out on top for the second Bro Down Showdown of the year.
Pretty pumped for that. And look, boys, as you said, Haz, if you commented Dill, you were in with a chance to win some unreal cards. And could you believe only 4 people were keen on me this week having a win? I cannot believe it, but congratulations to Timo, Tony's Legends, Mel, and Maxi. You're about to be on screen on the wheel. And once we can get that up, we're going to spin that. And I believe, Stu, you were going to open some more packs. 1 pack for the winner and then 1 pack for me. We're just waiting for that on screen. See it?
Yeah, got
fellas?
Yep. Give it a spin. While you're spinning that, here's an interesting comment here from Such as Fife. The clock keeps resetting on the Wildermouth Diamond. 2 minutes if it's a late bid. So if the boys keep bidding and the boys and girls keep bidding, they might not be able to play Wildermouth tonight when it locks out in about 15 minutes. And
Unreal. And
Maxi.
And while you did that, mate,
in
Maxi,
the chat.
you have won. Congratulations, Maxi. Good on you for joining us and me. So, Stu, do you want to jump across? Maybe the first pack opens for Maxi and the second one for me.
Sure can, mate. Just quickly, there's a cheeky little comment there from Pity. Has his first ever BDSD Bro Down Showdown loss. Yes, that is correct. He was operating at 100%.
Thanks, Pity. That's just before we move on. That is a reminder, Pity. That means you went 0-4 in the AFL Grand Final.
All right, is this for Maxi?
This is for Maxi, and there's only 1 All-Star left in packs. So let's hope we can hit it for Maxi. Here we go.
Oh, we might like that Daniel Sams. Maxi, if you're there, mate, throw up a bronze for these 3 now, and you can roll out a Dan Sams if you wish. Shawnee Abbott.
Hey, there it is. Boys, the last All-Star live on stream for Maxi.
We did it.
Let's go.
Who is it going to be?
Congrats, Maxi.
I think it has to be Cooper Conley. I think I saw someone pulled 19 Cooper Conley, maybe. Oh, Maxi.
Wow. Is Maxi's in the chat, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Where is he? Put him in here.
Oh, it's a Tim David.
Timmy David.
Still an unreal pull.
Unreal, Maxi. Well done.
I'm sure he'll be stoked.
Oh, how good.
Anyway, wow, there you go. How easy was that? 4 of you were in the draw to win a All-Star Timmy David. Wow, huge.
Wow.
So what happens now? We've got an All-Star pack, but technically we can't get one.
Maybe I was wrong. I did check before and it said 2, and then I checked again and it said 1, but that was before you opened it. But maybe, I don't know, maybe there was a little timing there. So maybe there is still 1 available.
No, I guess because we had the code earlier I'm not sure.
I don't know. Let's go. Let's see. Let's see if we can hit 2 All-Stars on stream.
A glitch pack here. All right, let's go right to left this time. And this is for Dill for picking Cooper Conley. There you go, mate. A gold Xavier Bartlett if you want him tonight.
Good stuff.
Richie Perry and Chrissy Lynn. A couple of good cards there. Well done, mate. Congratulations on your win. All right. Who we got lining up for round 4?
So as a reminder, this is a rotation. So we're just moving. I'm moving from the bowler to the bat position. Stu's moving from the all-rounder to the bowler, and Dill from the bat to the all-rounder. So I've selected Matt Renshaw. Stu, you've gone with X, and Dill, you've gone with the GOAT, Matt Short. So I need to comment the name of whichever bro you think will win round 4. Then during our round 5 show, we will draw the winner.
Unreal. Obviously, you're going to comment me. Matty Short's going to have a big game this week, I reckon. Bit of a bounce.
Didn't want to go with Wildermouth so we could have 3 Heat players up there on screen.
Oh, that would have been nice. Would have been nice. Would have been a little bro down showdown, wouldn't it?
That would have been scary.
Alrighty, boys. Obviously, Christmas just around the corner, and then so we've got these 2 games. We've got Christmas Eve, and then the next round kicks off on Boxing Day. So how good is Boxing Day? Get into a Boxing Day test, spend all day in the pool, watching the Aussies destroy England, and then do some big bash day squad as well. That means that obviously with Christmas all around, we are not going to be able to have a live show on that Boxing Day, but we will have a show nonetheless. So we'll come to you Friday, 26th of December, and we will make sure that it is available on YouTube and Spotify for everyone to listen and watch with all of our tips leading into round 5. Who can believe we're already at round 5, boys? It's unreal. Alrighty, just quickly before we head off, we've got a few. Maxi going for me again. Why not? You've already won an All-Star because of me. Thank you. Mel following the Has train once again. I think that's a couple of times she's voted for you. And Mian also following you, Has. And then Such as Fife. I think he felt bad for you, Stu, so he's put
yes, let's go Fifey
here as well. Good stuff. And then Tony Legends again. Good on you, Tony, for jumping in. He's going with Has to get back in the winner's circle.
Let's hope so.
Alrighty, that is it. We're about to go and watch the Heat destroy the Sydney Thunder. Unreal. Thanks again, boys. Unreal work hosting for the first time. Has, you've done really well, mate. Good on you.
Thanks, boys. Thanks, everyone. And go the